He's fit. She's fit. Welcome back to another episode with Mr. Whitfit. If you didn't take a look at my previous episode, definitely go back and do so. Because today I'm going to be getting into something that I mentioned, which are the chakras. Chakra is a Sanskrit word which means vortex or will, energy. I had previously mentioned that energy, utilizing the Whitfit philosophy and Einstein's concept of mass equivalent to the constant squared, energy being movement, mass being our bodies, the earth, energy in the Whitfit concept being your mind, your thoughts, which we can start our chakras there. Because our body is a vortex of energy. It's a system within systems, and even connected to a larger system, which is the Milky Way galaxy. However, here on Earth, where we reside, all these other planets and this solar system that we live in, all plays a role. It's all a part of energy. Well, how does this tie into the chakras? Well, it's all one and the same. If you go back to the Aryans in the documentary produced by Gita Desai, the Aryans actually sat around and meditated on many of these concepts that I'm actually referring to. But today in the 2000s, 2021, many of us are, we're caught into our heads. And it's hard for us to get into our bodies, especially in the Western part of the world, even technology being what it is today. Everybody's looking at their phones or some type of electronic gadget, which causes us to become disassociated. Well, the chakra and the chakra system, I was taught by a yogi guru from Khartoum, Sudan, Alexandro. I would love to hear from Alexandro. I would love to have him here on the Whitfitgurus show, because he truly was the instrument that taught me how to get out of my head into my body. He started that first by teaching me about the breath. And even the scriptures talk about the breath in the beginning. It said the Creator, God, breathed into man the breath of life, and he became a living soul. Wow, isn't that beautiful in the overall concept of Whitfit gurus? When I say that we're guided by universal law and how these laws actually apply. The beauty behind this is you may even see a scientist one day here with me. A good buddy of mine, Alfonso Darnell, he has a degree in mechanical engineering. And he came up with a formula, which is, if you take a person's height for men in inches and multiply times 2.25 or 2.75 if you want to be very muscular, like a football player, mixed martial art fighter, bodybuilder, or let's say you want to be extremely lean like a yogi or somewhere in the middle, a male fitness model. Take your height in inches and multiply times 2.25. These weights that you come up with, you'll see if you plug those numbers in and reference certain athletes such as Marcus Allen. When I did his formula, I was like, wow, I did myself. I'm like, okay, I'm like 5'7.5", even though on my driver's license it says 5'8". Thank you, DMV. I was like, wow, okay, these numbers make sense. Because at 160, I'm pretty lean. The heaviest I've ever been at this height when I was playing football was 185. Now, the height and weight, as well as the age, because all this dealing with structure, that serves me best is somewhere between, let's say, 160, I feel strong. I feel good. I feel limber. I can move with grace and ease, which is all part of a universal law. Now, applying this into the chakras, one of the first things with the human body that's actually very important in terms of energy, physically, is movement. Now, the next would be how your body processes energy, food, when we actually take it in. And if the body's moving through food quickly, fast, rebuilding itself in an anabolic state, catabolic state, breaking that food down with your digestive system, which actually ties into our third chakra, which we can tell a lot about what's going on in our energy vortexes based upon how things move in and out. That's even true at the cellular level. Now, traveling through the chakras, starting with the root, the red chakra, which is our grounding, which in the Western world, we're very in tune to that. One area that I want to start with me first having an experience with energy and recognizing something different was going on is when I flew from Northern California to Puerto Rico. Being in a plane, often you're just sitting there enjoying yourself on the ride, watching the movie, or sleeping or doing whatever you're doing. Because Puerto Rico is a pretty long flight. But somewhere over the Atlantic, I literally felt an energy change. I was like, wow, you know. And at that particular point, I wasn't even into yoga, because this is even before I ever found yoga, or yoga found me, or we connected with the universe through this instrument we call yoga, which I'll elaborate on that even at a different point. But the experience of flying to Puerto Rico over the Atlantic, I said, wow, I'm feeling more relaxed. I don't know what it is. I don't think it has anything to do with the Bay Area. I knew I was going on vacation, but it was something different I felt. Sure enough, landed in Puerto Rico, completely different vibrational frequency. I never really had a really in-depth appreciation, but I remember that experience because of something I'm getting ready to share with you right now. When I met Alexandro, who was originally from, as I said, the Khartoum, Sudan. And he actually wrote a book, and you can Google this book. It's called Christian Yoga by Alexandro. And it's kind of interesting that he even called it Christian Yoga. And because yoga, if we wanted to talk about religion, which this is not a religious conversation, evolved more out of Hinduism. But if you take a look at Sadhu Guru, which I follow on YouTube, look forward to meeting him in person one day because I got a lot of questions I would love to ask him. Or maybe I'll just put a comment at the bottom like you can do with me and ask me questions. But he said Hinduism really evolved much like Christianity in the sense that if you study Christianity, you'll see a lot of changes actually have happened, including wars over Christianity. But there was no Hinduism, it was Hinduism, meaning that each individual has a responsibility for themselves. The same as in Christianity. When the great teacher, Yeshua, Jesus, was teaching people, he was basically showing you how to get into self and how to deal with other people when they come around you. Now, we're tying this into the chakras in this particular way. Let's say people got a negative vibe. Well, there's different ways you can handle it. Typically, in our nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system, when we see something that frightens us, fight or flight, right? Or we can freeze, don't do anything, boom, you get scared. The other thing that you can do if you can't leave, if you're at work, office place, you can go inward. Maybe can't close your eyes because you're working on your computer. Now you can do what I learned from Alexandro. When I met him at Kinko's by happenstance or by universal design, because the universe is so farther advanced than what we are, it could have been preparing me then for what I'm doing now. Being taught directly by a real yogi is an experience that most Westerners never will experience because things are so commercialized. Some is good, some is bad. Well, we're going to take the good of all aspects for the purpose of benefiting ourselves as well as others, okay? Such as me utilizing this technology. Imagine having me work with you directly. Wow, you're going to be successful. It's like trying to learn about finance from Robert Kiyosaki, who I've met in person. A learn to run sprints from Usain Bolt. When you have the best of the best, you're going to learn something, guaranteed. Whoever you're hanging out with, that is going to be your tribe. As they say, your vibe is your tribe. I'm saying all this because technology is as powerful as we want it to be. And we can use it for whatever we want it to be used for. Now, tying this into the chakras and learning to relax, many of the things that I've known in my head for years benefits me, and it does every day, daily. But now it's allowing me to share this with you. See, the responsibility now from Alexandro to me, from me to you, millions of people, right? The first thing that he taught me was to focus on certain colors when I couldn't go anywhere. Meaning that, okay, I'm in a closed space. I can't be breathing, looking strange if I'm at work. Focus on the color red, which is grounding, which is very bright. And I would do that. Interestingly, at the time I was working with incarcerated youth at the Santa Clara County Probation Department. So it was a very powerful instrument to use to stay positive in an environment to where there was so much non-conducive energy. I never say negative, non-conducive. If energy isn't serving you, you redirect it. Just like a good martial artist in jiu-jitsu. They don't try to fight against it. They let it flow. Flow in, flow out. Yoga, the same thing. We capture the resistance in asana and we let it go. And that's what is the process of opening. But now we're focusing just on the chakra, what the chakra actually is, and how these vortexes of energy, which there's 7 main chakras, move in and up and out of the body. And typically when there is disease or something is without ease, you have a chakra that's actually been interrupted.